The gate of tyranny, a father's reckoning. The sun hung low over Willow Creek, a quiet suburban enclave in Ohio where manicured lawns and picket fences hid a festering wound. I'd lived here for a decade, raising my daughter, Emily, in a place I thought was safe. But that morning, as I tightened the saddle on my horse, Ranger, a scream shattered the stillness not from my 9-year-old's lips, but from the twisted metal that crushed her. By sundown, the gate that broke her would be rubble, and the woman who laughed as she bled would face a reckoning no HOA rulebook could shield her from. It started like any other Saturday. Emily, her braid bouncing under her helmet, pedaled her bike toward the community mailbox. I waved from the porch, my coffee still warm, watching her glide along the gravel path that hugged our property line. She was a spark of joy, her laughter brighter than the morning sun. But beyond our land lay the HOA's domain, a border marked by a rusted steel gate they'd illegally erected last month. No permit, no warning, just a slab of control. Emily neared it, unaware of the black SUV lurking behind a hedge. The vehicle roared to life, tires screeching as it veered toward her. She swerved, but the SUV clipped her front wheel. Her bike slammed into the gate's lock, and she flew 10 feet through the air, her helmet cracking against steel. Blood smeared the gravel as she crumpled, her small body still, her bike a mangled wreck. I didn't see it happen. I was still in the barn, brushing Ranger, when my phone buzzed with a neighbor's frantic call. They hit Emily. She's bleeding. The HOA's just standing there. I didn't grab my keys. I didn't call 911. Rage burned through me like wildfire. I leapt onto Ranger, slung a crossbow across my back, and tore through the creek bed, splintering a fence post as we charged toward the HOA's line. My blood roared louder than his hoofs. At the hill's crest, I saw them. Margaret, the HOA president, in her pristine white suit, filming my daughter's broken form with her tablet. She didn't kneel to help. She didn't flinch. She's not authorized to cross HOA boundaries, Margaret said coldly, her voice carrying over the crowd. That bicycle violates our vehicular guidelines. A fake security guard, some thug in a tactical vest with no badge, kicked Emily's bike aside like trash. Consider this a warning, he muttered. Neighbors pleaded for an ambulance, but Margaret snapped, do not interfere in HOA matters. Another resident raised a phone to record. Margaret barked, that's unauthorized. You'll be fined. No one touched Emily. No one wiped the blood from her cheek. They left her in the dirt under the blazing sun, as if her life meant nothing. But mine did. I kicked Ranger's flanks, and we descended like thunder. The gate loomed ahead, its rusted bars stained with my daughter's blood. The SUV idled nearby, the guard sipping from a bottle like he'd earned a break. My fists clenched. You touched my child, I growled under my breath. You'll pay in kind. Ranger's hooves hit the pavement, shaking the HOA's perfect street. I raised the crossbow, aimed, and fired. The bolt shattered the SUV's windshield, glass exploding like 1,000 broken promises. The guard jolted, his drink spilling, sunglasses flying. He fumbled for the door, but I was already reloading. Margaret spun, shielding her eyes. Oh, it's you, she sneered, recognizing me. The rancher. You should thank us. That gate saved her from traffic. I didn't answer. I aimed again. Is this how you settle disputes? She scoffed, gesturing at Ranger. With weapons? Wild animals. You're not HOA material. My voice cut like a blade. You shattered my daughter's skull and filmed it. She flinched, then raised her tablet like a shield. I'm documenting everything. That's assault. My second bolt tore through her tablet, sparks flying as it crumbled. She screamed, blood trickling from her wrist. The guard stumbled from the SUV, waving a taser with shaky hands. I hurled a pepper smoke bomb, homemade, brutal. It burst midair, engulfing him in a cloud of fire. He collapsed, choking, eyes streaming. Next one goes down your throat, I hissed. Margaret tripped over her heels, mascara streaking, her phone lost in the tablet's wreckage. I dismounted, each step deliberate. Neighbors watched, some filming, others frozen. No one helped her. She backed into the gate, the same one Emily hit. You think I'm the problem? I said. No, I'm the cure. I pulled a barbed bolt from my quiver, forged in my barn. Her eyes widened. Let's rewrite your bylaws. She bolted, heels clacking, her white suit stained with dust and fear. I mounted Ranger and gave chase. She shoved past lawn ornaments, toppling a plastic flamingo, but Ranger was faster. I hurled a bola, its cords wrapping her ankles. She crashed face first into gravel, blood splattering. I dismounted, grabbed her ankle, and dragged her back to the gate. She clawed at the ground, shrieking, "You're a savage. You don't belong here." "Neither do predators who film bleeding children," I growled. I slammed her against the gate's locked bar. She screamed, pain twisting her face. I pulled a photo from my pocket, an X-ray of Emily's fractured skull, her tiny outline a silent accusation. I taped it to Margaret's chest. "Look at her," I barked. "She can't scream, so I will." Her lips trembled, but I wasn't done. I tied a rope around her waist, clipped it to Ranger's saddle, and let him walk just enough to drag her across the grass she fined people for touching. She screamed, louder than ever, as neighbors filmed. I halted beside the gate, her throne of control. Her blouse was shredded, elbows bleeding, pride broken. "Please," she whimpered. I hauled her up. "Touch another child, and Ranger runs full gallop." I zip-tied her wrists to the gate, high so she stood on her toes, then bound her ankles. She hung, crucified on her own creation. The crowd grew, parents, teens, even the HOA treasurer. No one stopped me. I slapped red tape across her chest, below Emily's X-ray, and wrote in black marker, "I hurt children," and called it policy. "You're insane." Margaret sobbed. "This is assault." I leaned close, voice cold. "You assaulted a child," and laughed. "You're not getting sympathy, you're getting remembered." I raised my phone and started a live stream. Her screams echoed as the viewer count soared 100, then 10,000, then 50,000. Comments flooded in. "She deserves it." I lived under her HOA. Let her rot. Another HOA SUV rolled up. 2 new guards stepped out, hands on stun batons. They saw Margaret, then me, and froze. "Back off," I warned, "unless you want matching ties." One lunged forward. I fired a bolt, shattering their private HOA zone sign. He dove for cover. The other fled. I grabbed spray paint from Ranger's saddlebag and scrawled child abuse zone across their SUV, then a red X over the gate's HOA emblem. "This isn't a community," I roared. "It's a cartel hiding behind bylaws." Margaret whimpered. "We had to keep order." "People like you, chaos." I rattled the gate until it shook. "Chaos is watching your daughter bleed while you record it." The live stream hit 2 million views. Sirens wailed. A sheriff's car pulled up. The real law, not HOA cosplay. The sheriff stepped out, blinking at the scene. "What the hell happened?" I pointed at Margaret. "She orchestrated an attack on my 9-year-old. Filmed her bleeding. Built this gate without a permit. Used fake cops to terrorize us." Margaret screamed. "He assaulted me. Arrest him." I stepped forward. She cracked Emily's skull and called it discipline. "I have the X-ray." The sheriff's eyes narrowed. He ordered his deputy to cut her down. Margaret crumpled, knees bleeding, hands trembling. "You're arresting him, right?" she gasped. The deputy held up his phone. "This video's got millions of views. People are calling her the Gate Witch. HOA abuse stories are pouring in." The sheriff cuffed her. "Margaret Elaine Thompson, you're under arrest for child endangerment, impersonating law enforcement, unlawful detainment, and illegal construction." She screamed as they dragged her away. Neighbors cheered, dozens, then more. The gate stood scarred, no longer a weapon, just scrap. In the hospital, Emily lay pale, wires snaking from her small frame. The heart monitor's beep was my only comfort. I sat, rope burns on my palms, fear replacing rage. The nurse nodded. "She's stable. You can talk to her." I took Emily's hand. "Hey, sweetheart, it's Dad." Her eyes fluttered open, brown and fragile. "Dad?" Her voice was faint. "Did you ride Ranger?" I choked on a laugh. "Like a cowboy. Shot a few things that needed breaking." She smiled weakly. "Was Margaret mad?" I kissed her forehead. "She's not in charge anymore. You're safe." The sheriff stepped in, hat in hand. "The HOA's dissolved. They're filing charges against her cronies. Your video's at 30 million views. You broke the internet." I shrugged. "I was just being a father." He left an envelope from the DA, naming me lead witness. I'd give my statement, but not tonight. Emily yawned, gripping my hand. "You're my hero." My voice cracked. "No, you're mine." 2 weeks later, I stood before the gate. Rust crept along its base. The red X faded but stark. The sheriff and new community board joined me, families behind us, phones ready. They'd shared their own HOA horror story finds for kids' chalk drawings, threats over garden flags. This wasn't just my fight anymore. The sheriff handed me a crowbar. "You sure you want to do this?" I nodded. "More than anything." I pried the first hinge clang. The second groaned, then snapped. The gate crashed down, dust rising. Kids ran forward, kicking the steel, laughing like it was a slain dragon. A woman planted a flower beside the rubble. The new board chair handed me a wooden sign. Community, not control. We hammered it where the gate once stood. That night, Emily curled beside me on the porch, her scarf fading. "Will the gate come back?" she asked. I looked at the open road, light pouring through. "Not while I'm breathing." She handed me a tiny plastic horse. "For your next ride." I held it tight and exhaled. Margaret thought rules could replace compassion, that power could silence truth. She was wrong. No bylaw justifies hurting a child. No gate shields cruelty from consequence. What happened to Emily was brutal, but what followed was Justicia community remembering its strength. As I held Emily's hand, I knew, you don't need a badge to protect your own. You just need the courage to act. This story isn't just my nights for anyone who's felt crushed by petty tyrants. Share your thoughts below. Was my vengeance justice, or did I go too far? Have you faced injustice in your community? Take a stand, voice your truth. Let's keep this fight alive.